Snoop Lion is Snoopzilla, then Snoop Dogg and Snoopzilla must be the same person. So if Riker is identical to Tom Riker and Will Riker, Tom and Will must be identical to each other, but they're not. They have different properties. Will might be on the bridge whilst Tom is in 10 forward. Tom might be slightly more beardy. Think back to our episode on Cartesian dualism where we talked about Leibniz's law. If two things are identical, they must have all the same properties, which includes their position in space. So Tom and Will are psychologically continuous with the original Riker, but they are not identical with him. Psychological continuity cannot be the criterion for personal identity. So what does make you the same person over time? Derek Parfit said that the answer is psychological continuity. Again. What? Rather than abandon the notion of memory being important for determining who's who, Parfit says that we should abandon the notion of identity. Identity is a strict one-to-one logical relation and it ties us down, when what we're really worried about isn't identity, it's survival. The question isn't will I be numerically identical to some future Philosophy Tube presenter, the question is will I survive? What Parfit thinks we should recognise is that one person might survive as two. So neither Tom nor Will are actually identical with the original Riker, but Riker does survive as both of them because his memories survive. Parfit tries to demonstrate this by taking the fission case and flipping it on its head. He asks us to imagine what would we say in a scenario where two people fused. You'd take two sets of desires and beliefs and hopes and put them into one body. Now certain members of those two sets are likely to be contradictory, so some of them will get eliminated from the final product. Say Vegeta and Goku do the fusion dance and become Gogeta. Now before the fusion, Goku's favourite food was rice and Vegeta's was egg rolls, and when they fuse, Gogeta's favourite food is egg rolls. That means there is more of Vegeta in Gogeta. Gogeta is more like Vegeta than he is like Goku. Now what Parfit thinks this shows us is that it's survival that we're really worried about when we're talking about whether somebody is the same over time. And that survival is a matter of degree. You can survive more or less, unlike identity, which is a strict, transitive, all-or-nothing deal. Of course, what that means is you can be the same person as you were in every relevant sense, whilst also not being strictly identical to them, which is kind of weird, and a lot of philosophers think that's a little bit too weird, which is why the debate goes on. What do you guys think? What makes you the same person over time, if indeed you are? Is Parfit right that it's survival and not identity that we're really bothered about? Send me your questions, comments, queries and comebacks underneath the video on Facebook, Twitter or by email. There were a lot of votes last time to do an episode on aesthetics and it was really, really close, so I think the next episode will be about is beauty in the eye of the beholder. Subscribe to join the PSTFanz and leave a like if you... Alright, time to start filming today's episode. Just as a quick side note, do you remember that collaboration video I did with Blink Pop Shift on whether or not YouTube poops are art? Some people have actually taken those videos and made YouTube poops out of them. I'll put links in the description. My day has been made. That's just so cool and so funny. I'm so flattered that somebody took the time to do that. I feel like I've arrived on YouTube now. This is like when you get your own Wikipedia page. Anyway, let's see what the PSTFanz had to say about weakness of will. Fraser Greene, Claudius Kluwer and Ilian Bobev all said that maybe weakness of will comes from a failure to place long-term benefit over short-term benefit. That's a good idea, but it's possible to construct some counterexamples to that. Say you had to make a choice between eating an apple now or eating dessert later. You judge that eating the apple now would be best, but you wait and you have dessert anyway. In that case, you've got weakness of will as we defined it, but it's weakness in favour of the long-term benefit rather than the short-term. Sanatsky, Bruno Salea and several others all said that maybe weakness of will comes from outdated heuristics, modes of decision making which we are stuck with as a result of how our brains evolved. That is a really interesting idea. That would actually lend some support to the thing we were talking about at the end of the last episode when we say maybe weakness of will is characteristically irrational, so you decide to do one thing and judge that would be best, and then your brain's just like, nope, you're gonna do someone else, pal. I'm making the decisions. Marie Soulier and James Mackenzie both pointed out that what you define to be best is actually kind of vague. I mean, you might judge that one thing is best relative to one goal and something else is best relative to another goal. So what's going on there? That's actually a really good point. I guess the ostensible response is that what you judge to be best is the thing that you judge you have the most reason to do. But that takes us into the philosophy of reasons and how they work, which would actually make a very good episode for another time. So thank you for that. Caleb Harmon, that is exactly what Plato said. Well done, you were paying attention. That's all we've got time for this week. Thank you very much for watching, and I will
I'll see you in the next
Oi.
episode. Don't forget to... I am the real Ollie.
Get out.
I am
Get
the
out.
real...
I'm doing
Shut
it.
up. I am the real Ollie.
Pissed off.